Jack Nicholson. Even the name feels electric, a spark that once lit up every corner of Hollywood. For decades, he wasn't just an actor. He was the storm, the shadow, and the wild grin that defined cinema. From the haunted halls of The Shining to the fragile humanity of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Nicholson didn't just play characters. He consumed them and in the process consumed us. But what makes his story unforgettable isn't just the roles that shaped film history. It's the man behind the shades, the secrets buried in his past, and the heartbreaking silence of his final years. Nicholson's legend began long before Hollywood knew his name. Born in 1937, his very identity was cloaked in deception. For most of his young life, Jack believed his grandmother was his mother, and that his actual mother was his sister. That secret, unearthed by a Time magazine reporter decades later, became one of the most shocking twists in celebrity history. Imagine discovering at the height of your fame that your entire childhood had been a performance, staged by the people you trusted most. That revelation haunted Nicholson forever, adding a shadow to the mischievous grin the world thought it knew. Yet out of that fractured beginning rose an actor unlike any other. Nicholson clawed his way through Hollywood's unforgiving ranks, starting with B-movies and small roles before exploding into stardom. His breakout performance in Easy Rider wasn't just a career shift, it was an earthquake. Suddenly, he was everywhere. By the time he delivered his Oscar-winning performance in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, audiences realized they weren't watching a man acting. They were watching a man peeling back his soul, layer by layer, daring us to look away. But Nicholson wasn't simply an artist. He was a cultural event. With his devilish smile, razor wit, and reputation as Hollywood's wild man, he became the very image of 1970s rebellion and excess. He was the guy in the courtside Lakers seat, the king of Hollywood parties, the man everyone wanted to know and no one could truly pin down. He was magnetic, dangerous, and utterly alive. And yet, behind the wild persona, Nicholson longed for something he never truly had: stability. His relationships were turbulent, his romances the stuff of tabloid obsession. His decades-long love affair with actress Angelica Houston was as passionate as it was painful, marked by betrayal and heartbreak. He fathered several children, but even family life was scattered, complicated, and at times distant. For a man who seemed to have everything, the truth was far messier. He was constantly chasing something just out of reach. By the 1980s and 90s, Nicholson had cemented himself as a legend. Whether it was his chilling turn as Jack Torrance in The Shining or his chaotic brilliance as the Joker in Batman, he gave audiences moments that would never fade. He became the standard, the benchmark for acting itself. Directors marveled at his instincts, co-stars often admitted they were terrified to work alongside him, and audiences surrendered to his gravity every single time. But time, as it always does, began to change the story. Nicholson's last great performance came in 2003's About Schmidt and Something's Gotta Give, films that showed a softer, more vulnerable side of the man behind the grin. But after that, something shifted. The roles slowed. The appearances grew rare. Rumors began to swirl. Had the wild man of Hollywood finally burned himself out? Was his health failing? Fans speculated endlessly as Nicholson quietly retreated from the cameras that had once adored him. It was in this silence that the myth of Jack Nicholson grew even larger. 4 years now, he has lived away from the public eye, tucked in the hills of Los Angeles, rarely seen except for the occasional glimpse at a Lakers game. At 88, the man who once commanded every screen in the world has become a recluse, leaving millions of fans aching to know the truth about his final chapter. And here lies the heart of his story, a man who gave us everything on screen and in the end wanted nothing more than to be left alone. Backhand index pointing right, but let me ask you this. Do you believe Jack Nicholson owes the world one last performance, or should we honor his silence and let him fade into peace? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to know what you think. Nicholson's withdrawal has sparked endless debate. Some argue that legends like him owe us nothing. They've already given enough. Others feel robbed, wishing for just one more film, one more flash of brilliance before the curtain falls. Yet maybe the truth is that Nicholson's silence is his final performance, a reminder that even the brightest flames must dim. What makes his story so haunting is the collision between the man and the myth. On screen, Nicholson was larger than life, indestructible. Off-screen, he was vulnerable, searching, and finally human. His legacy isn't just in the awards or the unforgettable roles. It's in the way he made audiences feel. Fear, joy, awe, heartbreak. He reached into the darkest corners of human emotion and forced us to face them with him. Fans across the world still feel his absence like a wound. Comments pour in online every time his name resurfaces. "I can't watch this daily, it breaks me." No one can beat death. No one. Thanks for being part of my life. These aren't just casual remarks. They're confessions, proof that Nicholson touched lives in ways most actors could never dream of. And perhaps that is his greatest achievement. Jack Nicholson wasn't just an actor. He was an era. He was Hollywood itself, distilled into one man, brilliant, chaotic, flawed, unforgettable. His story reminds us that even our heroes are mortal. Even legends fade. But the art they leave behind? That never dies. As Jack Nicholson spends his twilight years in quiet solitude, we are left with his films, his performances, and the echoes of that grin. The grin that once terrified us, charmed us, and made us believe in the impossible power of cinema. When future generations ask who Jack Nicholson was, the answer will not be simple. He was the son of secrets, the rebel who broke the rules, the lover who couldn't stay, the artist who redefined his craft, and finally the man who walked away. That is the untold truth of Jack Nicholson, Hollywood's wildest legend and its most human soul.